do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of New York State,
and the Constitution of New York State,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of library trustee.
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of library trustee.
Congratulations. Laura, why don't you come and take a picture with us? So you sign there. And I'll sign here.
Right.
I'm gonna do a jig for you right after the meeting. That's great.
You went up the stairs.
Would you like to take a
Good for you.
picture?
Yes,
I
please.
totally forgot.
As long as you get.
Yes.
125 degrees, I
Yes.
can bet.
Okay.
It's pretty good.
In the leg wrestling competition. I think I'd have the advantage.
I think you'd have the advantage
still
your
have
way.
You'd win this time.
Probably.
Well, Augusta-
Maybe not.
I know, I'd probably win 3 out of 5.
You need to win 5 out of 5.
Cheeseburger. Thank you.
Thank you.
for coming.
Careful, Dan.
I love when we do that. That's a fun.
Now, Nadira, you are allowed to stay at this meeting, but if you're now join the library board, their meetings are even more boring than ours. So you can leave anytime you like.
Thank you.
But you better have a library card.
I do, I have at least one.
Yeah, I think I have 2 also.
All right, thank you. Shall we have Deputy Supervisor Szymanski do a committee report on the fly car?
Right, I have the April stats. Empress sent them to me today. There were 40 calls in the village of Pelham. This is for the month of April. Just to clarify again, 34 in Pelham Manor, 3 calls on I-95, and 3 calls on the Hutch. The average time for the transport unit's arrival was 9 minutes and 57 seconds. And most of the calls, 57% of the calls were answered in 6 minutes and under. That's the fly car response, not the transport response. So those are the April stats.
Scott's sending the ambulance.
Yes, Scott is sending an ambulance to an event that, thank you, that is being held by Huguenot Nursery School Fair on 5/20. So they asked if they could send an ambulance there so that the kids could go in and look at what's inside and what happens in there. So Empress is going to do that for us.
That's such
free
a
of
wonderful
charge.
event, the vehicle fair.
Yes, that's what it
Highlight
is,
of-
school vehicle fair.
Yeah. That's phenomenal.
Dan and I have a meeting in a couple of weeks with Eastchester for some follow-up. I think it's May 15th or something like that. I don't remember the exact day because Dan, we had a couple of conflicts in the date. So it's not next week, it's the week after. I know that because Dan, you're away next week, or you're in Boston, I think.
It's May 18th.
May 18th, I knew was coming up. And I think that's it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilwoman McLaughlin on recreation.
Thank you. Spring activities have started. Soccer started on April 15th with over 300 pre-K to second graders, which is incredible. Spring after-school activities have all begun. Spring and tennis pickleball have begun. And just so everybody knows, permits are available for Julianne's Playground on our website. You need starting in early April through November to use the courts, you need a permit. It's $100 for the entire summer, and then you just sign up when you want to play
Okay, so you can't sign up without a permit?
without a permit.
Okay, because it's not, what was going through my head is it's not monitored there, so like
Right, you
anybody.
can't sign up without
To even go,
the
okay,
permit. Right.
okay.
Okay, new this spring is beginner pickleball lessons on Saturday mornings and men's tennis lessons on Monday and Wednesday evenings. Please see the website the Recreation Department website for more information. On Friday, April 28th, they had a 4th and 5th grade basketball night from 6 to 8 p.m. at the brand new Hutchinson Gym. It was a huge success. Registration maxed out, and the kids had a ball, and parents were very happy. It was a drop-off event, obviously, for the teens, and
That's
the
why they
parents.
were happy.
Yes, I think they were.
Not the teens.
And the
but
parents
fourth
dropped the
grade.
kids off and went and grabbed some dinner and picked up their kids at 8 o'clock. So it was a win-win for everybody. Let's see, the day camp is full. Tiny Tots, Big Tots, and the clinics all have spots open, but those are filling up quickly. Camp Mindfulness for kids with in the SEPTA program. Spots are still open for that group as well. For the senior citizens, the medical van did 32 round trips. And the Red Cross will be coming on May 26th at 1 p.m. to their Monday meeting to discuss fire safety. And the Passport van, which is a service of Westchester County, will be in front of the town hall on May 10th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. More information on the Town of Pelham website, or you can call Westchester County at 914-995-3082 and to verify what information if you need
To bring to the
to
van?
bring,
Yeah.
and they can also help you get a photo because they're very strict on what kind of photo. So, but the people at the and also at Molly, our deputy town clerk, can also help you at 914-738-0777. I have that memorized. And I think I've covered everything. Thank you.
You did, I couldn't make it because I was sick. You went to the Pelham Together meeting?
Oh, yes. Pelham Together held its spring advisory board meeting, and they discussed a variety of things, including mental health services that they're offering now for our youth. They have a licensed psychologist who is supervising interns in their offices. So it's sort of a stopgap measure because there's such a shortage and very, very difficult to get children into therapy. So this is a way to get them through the next 3 to 6 months and then help them with referrals to a more permanent solution if that's what they need.
So the interns are psychology interns?
Yes,
Okay.
and social work.
Oh,
Like
okay,
colleges or.
Right,
or-
from Iona,
okay.
from Mercy,
Yeah,
from Fordham,
Great.
and Hunter, I think, is the other one.
Okay.
And they talked about their Summerfest, which will be held on June 3rd from 3 to 8 p.m. and it's back at Chester Park this year.
Just
More
the Pelham.
details to follow.
That's right.
Thank you. Any questions?
I just wanted to say quickly, my daughter attended the 4th, 5th grade basketball at Hutchinson. It was a huge hit, so I just wanted to tell you all
Yeah.
that. And I also went to the Pelham Together advisory meeting, and it was really well attended, and there was a lot of good conversations about what programming and things for our youth. So really good
Yes,
stuff.
excuse me. When is the spring advisory board meeting? You didn't say a date.
It's Pelham Together.
Pelham Together.
It
Pelham
happened.
Together,
Wow.
they have one in the fall and then they have one in the spring. One's in
Yes.
October and one's in
It
spring.
already happened. They already
Oh.
happened.
Yeah,
Oh, it did.
yeah. It was last week.
When?
Yes, it was
When
in
is
April.
that summer festival? What time, I mean?
3 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Because that's the same day as the Summer
Civic.
Olympics.
It's after that, yes.
Right, okay.
Oh, yeah,
And
that's in the
then
morning.
it's also the same date as the Pelham Preservation Garden and Preservation,
Oh,
but
right.
that starts after. It's a lot going on
Yeah.
June 3rd.
Yeah.
I hope the weather's good.
We all do.
Any other questions? Okay. Councilwoman Burke on legal and the courts.
I have the shortest report in the history of Kristen reports.
Because it's May 1st, yeah.
So there are no reports this month because the money's still coming in from April, so I'll have 2 next month. The new court clerk is starting next Monday. Stefania Rocco, is that how you say it? Very long time Pelham resident, amazing credentials. We're very, very excited to have her.
Lovely.
Yeah,
lovely.
yeah, really great. And the courts are gonna be closed this Thursday for some staff training. And that's the end of my report.
That is the
Wow.
shortest
I
report.
know, feels weird.
Wow. Okay, Councilwoman Curtin on the library.
I feel like my report's only long because the library does such amazing programming. I have to report on it here. So there's a defensive driving course being offered at the library Saturday, May 13th from 10 to 4 p.m. And the completion of that would help you reduce your insurance costs and reduce points on your license. Of course, none of that applies to us, but anyone out there. And the information is on the Pelham Library website, but I'll also add some of these to the Pelham Town website and link over. There's also English as a second language classes happening at the library Mondays. I guess it's just happened just now, 6:15 to 7, but it's also the 8th, the 15th, the 22nd, and June 5th. And the teachers are Pelham residents, E.J. Sepp and Joanne Orr. And this is for students who are low to intermediate, advanced students who are learning English. It's not intended for beginners, so that information is on the library website as well. There's 2 great things for some of our seniors in town, actually family members of seniors. How to start the conversation with aging adults. Estate planning is being offered at the library. And that registration information is on the website as well. And demystifying Medicare, Monday, May 15th from 5:30 to 8:45. And that's being offered by the Westchester Library System, but it's happening at the Pelham Public Library, so that's a great program there. So I will put all of that and with links to the Pelham Library website on the town website for further information, and that's what I have on the library.
Any questions for Councilwoman Curtin? Okay. Supervisor's report. I need to clarify something, and we do a monthly report, maybe bi-monthly report on what's going on in the village, in the town, in both villages. And it was brought to my attention that I didn't edit something correctly. And basically, we said in the report that the village of Pelham has not sought to obtain the required certifications to perform any emergency services. That is incorrect. What Pelham PD and FD feature highly trained first responders. All Pelham PD and FD members are AED, BLS, and CPR certified. Those are emergency certifications. That was my error, and I apologize for that. Pelham sends the Pelham Police Department to enhance the town's emergency medical response. So there is certifications, and I apologize for that mistake. Any questions from the board? From the board?
No,
PD,
No.
ADD,
No, I have no
Okay.
questions.
AED,
yes,
BLS,
BLS,
And CPR.
and CPR.
I will give you the notice on it. I would ask that Councilwoman Burke correct
we'll do that.
on the Facebook page. And
The report itself.
Yes,
I'll update it
exactly.
and, yeah.
So I apologize. Okay, questions from the public? And public comment, please state who you are and where you live. Yes, Jean. Gene, can you do me a favor?
Sir.
We found out that the volume is no good if you're talking back there. Could you come up here and talk over here, please? We- Sorry.
I'm watching the wires. Where would you like me to?
Watch yourself. Okay. Let's see. Right there is good, Gene. Thank you.
Okay. Obviously, I'm aware of the efforts that have been going on to improve EMS within the town. And while you are correct that some of the individuals on the Pelham Manor Fire Department, Police Department, et cetera, are EMTs, it is accurate that neither agency is listed on the State of New York's website as a basic life support first response agency, which means that those individuals are not being, I want to word this carefully because my issue is not with the individuals, it's a systems issue. Right now, they cannot guarantee staffing of first response units. They cannot guarantee equipment according to New York State standards, and they do not participate in submitting documentation through the system on calls that they respond to. So while the efforts of the departments are laudable, it is a fact, which I certainly could provide you with the website where you can see for yourself, that they are not a New York State certified BLS first response agency. However, the Village of Pelham Fire Department is, which means that there are standards they have to uphold. Now, the last point I would like to make, again, let me emphasize, this is not an issue with individuals, okay? It's nice that they're all trained in AED. The vast majority of EMS calls do not involve resuscitation. It's nice that they're trained in first aid. It's nice that some of them are EMTs. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about an organized system. The Village of Pelham Manor is one part of the town that does not have that. It is one of the few parts of Westchester that does not have a certified BLS first response agency. And from my viewpoint, fire, police, doesn't matter to me. It's a component of the system that is missing. So I understand exactly what you're saying, Dan, and I agree with you. But it needs to be known that there's another step that needs to be taken if we're to bring our system into 2023. Okay?
Okay.
Thank
I have approached that with the Village of Pelham.
I know you have, and
And-
I appreciate that. As a citizen of the town, I appreciate the efforts that you and others have been carrying out to improve the system that we have and make it better.
I'm looking for she actually, the mayor did say that we will be constantly reviewing the situation.
That's good to hear.
That's,
Thank you, sir.
thank
Jean,
you.
Could you just say your full name and where you live?
Sure.
Thank you.
Gene, Gene. Last name is IANNUZZI, and I live here in Pelham Village, across the street.
Thank you.
Gene has been instrumental in helping us go through with the RPF and everything else. Gene, thank you very much.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. We
Thank you.
appreciate all
Watch
your
yourself.
assistance
Watch
with
yourself.
that, and thank you for standing up.
Any other public comment? Yes.
Stand over here. So I'm Mark Cardwell. I think most of you on the board know me. I'm also a registered EMT, and I'm a resident of the Village of Pelham Manor. And I'll tell you that I share your frustration with the Village of Pelham Manor, and the minimal certifications that the village has does not mean that they can really be of assistance in most medical emergencies. But I'm also really frustrated with what's happening with the town. And I understand there's been a lot of work to work through an RFP. But I'm beyond frustrated at where we're at today. We've been talking for a year about fixing this problem. The county has said to you, you have to fix this problem. And
Well,
it's not happening.
At our,
And if I may, I feel like there's some misinformation going around that really, really frustrated me last week when I saw that you're characterizing the fly car as a mobile ER.
Emergency room on wheels.
It's a guy with a bag of drugs and some tools. It's not a room. It's not a room. There's no ER doctor, and there's very limited diagnostic equipment. Does that mean that they can't be of help? Absolutely not. ALS is something that we must have, and it's great that we have it. But it's not a substitute for an ambulance. If you or me or you have a stroke, that paramedic's, he's got not much to do. The only treatment for a stroke is to get you to a stroke center. And so while we're sitting here with the paramedic, that's brain going away as you wait for that ambulance to come from Yonkers. So I gotta say, I feel like there has to be some urgency around this issue, and I'm really frustrated at where we're at now. The other thing that I wanna just sort of work through is how we can fix the fact that we're the only town in the whole county that doesn't have an ambulance service. And I really think it's sort of mind-boggling that we're in this position. And I'm sorry to be so frustrated. I know that everybody's working in good faith. I really do. And I want to work with you to fix it. But it's been a year. It's been a year since this has been going on. It's been a year since we had FEMA ambulances helping people in Pelham. It's been a year since you have Mamaroneck and Larchmont and Scarsdale and Eastchester coming over here and helping Pelham residents because we don't step up. It doesn't make any sense. So, I'm sorry to vent. I do
you don't have to
appreciate
be
what
sorry
you
to
do.
vent.
But we have to fix this
We have an
problem.
ambulance service. We have an ambulance service contract.
You have
We
an
have an
ambulance,
ambulance
you have an
service
ambulance
contract.
in Yonkers.
I just want to correct your statement.
You have
We
an-
have an ambulance service contract.
You have an ambulance service contract, and those trucks are in Yonkers. And let me
Only
tell you
telling
something.
what we have. Do
that-
you have anything else to say?
And let me tell you one more thing, if I may. You read these stats from Empress. I've sent you emails that show county 911 data that they're wrong. You're reading incorrect, misleading data from Empress.
Provided
And
by
it's not your
Empress.
fault. It's not, I'm just saying, you should read county 911 data because that will show the real response times.
And
that we
there
get.
are people within the fire department that are reviewing all County 60 data, okay?
Right,
I
right,
hear
but
your
it's been
frustration.
a
Can I
year.
speak now?
It's been a year.
Yeah.
And an RFP was created, a committee was created, an RFP was created, only 2 people responded to the RFP. The cost of having our own ambulance is the issue,
I understand
okay?
that.
It is millions, not $100,000, not $200,000, over $1 million.
Over $1.5 million.
This board has a fiduciary responsibility to the citizens of this town to make that decision with input from the citizens on whether we're raising taxes to support buying the ambulance and then the ongoing staffing of the ambulance as we move forward, because we leave that legacy to any other board that comes behind us. That's where we are.
And you know what, I love this, I
It was
love this.
reported in our last meeting.
Right, and I watched that meeting, and I love the fact that this board actually cares about fiduciary responsibility, because I get the feeling my village doesn't. But honestly, if you think about priorities, the town spends $1 million on the library. Why is it such a big deal to spend $1 million on EMS? I'd rather be alive than have books.
And I hear
And I
you,
shouldn't
Mark.
have to make the choice.
We've been doing
Right.
little focus groups as we go across, and honestly, you're in the minority. Your opinion is in the minority. I'm telling you the truth. It shocked me too, that nobody would say, okay, I'll give you $500 extra a year so that I can have an ambulance.
Let me tell you how we phrased it, Mark. You may be aware of this, you may not be aware of this, but our budget is about $4.5 million.
It's much smaller than the villages, I
Right.
understand that, yes.
So, on an average $1 million house, you give us, the taxpayer gives us about $430. That's what we get from the average $1 million house, okay? You're trying to use numbers that are easy to understand. In order for us to buy that ambulance and man that ambulance and the fly car, both, we would have to raise the taxes to the average taxpayer from $430 to $750. That's how we presented it to the several focus groups we went to. And in each case, they said it wasn't worth it for the amount of time that you would use it. Now, the other issue, as you well know, is we get the ambulance here, and it has to go on a mutual aid call. So it's not here when you get the stroke. It's in Bronxville, because they needed something Bronxville. My fear is that taxpayer is gonna say, you double my tax, and now you don't have the ambulance here. And as you know, if you don't do mutual aid, you won't get mutual aid.
Right?
So that's the small groups we've been doing. The other fiscal thing that we have a problem with, we don't in our reserves have $1.5 million.
I understand that.
So if we're going to do it, we can't do it this year. We went to several senators, the people that were represented as senators, asking if they could even give us a grant for that. So it isn't like we don't want to do it, we can't do it monetarily wise, and we're still getting this feeling that people don't think it's worth it for the times that you're gonna use it. It's very frustrating for us.
Well, and look, I will plead guilty, because up until a year ago, or a year and a half ago, I thought things were okay.
Sure.
And actually, I think before Empress was bought by a private equity firm, it wasn't great, but it wasn't so bad. But it's bad now, and I think that if you have this focus group and you say, your son will lay on that football field for 45 minutes while he could be bleeding out because Empress wants to make more profit, and I think if you put it that way, it would be a no-brainer.
Well,
And I also think, if I may, I'm sorry, I wasn't involved in the RFP, that's okay, but as I understand it,
We had two very involved people on the RFP. We felt that was.
I know you had good people, but I also think that you guys shot for the moon, and that's good. I want the best possible service, but I also think maybe there's an option to start off smaller, right? Like, could we have a basic BLS ambulance service?
they were all included in the RFP.
And that was included in the RFP.
Yeah, that was in it.
Everything was touched on.
All of, we've had 2 or 3 quotes with a BLS or an ALS or 2 BLS or no fly car.
8
So
hours, 16 hours, not 24 hours, 12
It's all in the
hours.
RFP. But on either alternative, it was from $1 million to $1.5 million that we don't have. That's the problem.
And this is it, this is my last one, but I know, I really do appreciate that this board is fiscally responsible. I think, you know, that brings a little bit of joy to my heart. But, I mean, my question to you is, you have these villages that have $18 million budgets, where $250,000, $500,000 is not a big lift for them. Pelham Manor's got that in reserves. And I, as a resident of Pelham Manor, want that money used for this. So my question is, like, can you work with the villages and say, hey, help us start this thing up? So it shouldn't all be on the town's shoulders. I think my experience in the rest of Westchester County, the towns don't run the whole EMS. It's usually a tiered thing where the town runs ALS and the villages run BLS. So I actually think it's normal, at least in Westchester County, to run that way. So I just wonder if you can, and I'm happy to work with people, but if you can work with the villages and say, let's get this done. And they, I mean, they do have bigger budgets and honestly, just more space to maneuver financially than you do.
Each of the villages was well represented with their village administrators on creating the RFP, actually. So they were all at the table. And they all understood what the goals were at that time, am I correct?
Yeah, absolutely correct.
So there was police, there was fire, and there was village administrators from both villages. So, I mean, besides sitting down with mayors and telling them, you know, this is what we want to do, I don't know what else we can do, because that is kind of why we put the statement about the fly car out on the town website, because people don't understand. They don't understand the system.
And I think your suggestion about the villages doing X and the town doing Y, it's not a bad suggestion, but it's still the same money. You know, it's whether you get it out of the village tax or get it out of the town tax. So I don't think that's the issue as much as it is as, what can I say? If you read what was on the website, we also put a history on
I know,
it.
I read it. Yeah, I
Okay,
did.
okay, so the history was that the villages weren't doing it.
Nothing.
And we were really working as a subset of New Rochelle. So that's why the town did what they did 20 years ago. And, you know, it's sort of like when you took that, keep it. You know, I can't get rid of it now. So now you're responsible.
It's by statute.
Yeah.
It's by statute?
That the villages do not want, the town.
That's right. All right. The villages didn't want it. By statute, the town has to take it. Like we do dog licensing for the village of Pelham. We don't do it for the village of Pelham Manor, but the village of Pelham said they didn't want to do it anymore. By statute, we have to do it. So we're really trying to work hard on this. I went as far as to call up, I don't know, I'm sure you know this, that Westchester bought 4 ambulances.
Mount Vernon, you mean? Or
Mount Vernon, yes,
Right.
but before that, Westchester.
they contracted with AMR for.
Yeah,
AMR.
exactly.
Yes.
So I called them up to see if I could get one located here, but it's being located, where did I tell you?
Dunkin' Donuts?
No, Macy's, the mall, what's that
No,
called?
across
Oh,
town.
Across town.
Midland
Cross
Avenue.
County. And I said, can you put it here? And she came back to me and said that we really can't do that, Dan, but we'll take note of your request. And I have to say, they've showed up a lot of times here, a lot of times. So I guess maybe they are on notice that we did ask for their extra help. And I explained to everybody about, anybody I speak to, I tell the same story that I'm telling you. We want it, we don't have the money, budget time.
Do we want to just repeat what we have and what we're keeping?
Well, we're keeping the fly car
Right.
manned 24/7 with a paramedic, not an EMT, a paramedic that can do intubations, that can do IVs, that can do stabilizations until the transport comes. So I don't think it's mischaracterized as an ER on wheels because you're getting
I don't need an intubation for a stroke.
I
need to get to
understand
a
that, I'm
stroke
just
center,
saying what
right?
they can do, that's
Right,
all
I
I'm,
know that, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying, like, there's so many issues that require immediate transport, like, and it's just unconscionable to let people sit on the ground for 45 minutes. And it didn't just happen to me, it's happened to lots of people. And it's really shameful.
That day
in a
that it
place-
happened to you,
Don't talk to me about this day because it's happened to lots of other people.
okay, but I'm
on
saying
lots of
that
other
day
days.
that it happened to you, we wouldn't have had an ambulance even if we
Anyway.
had one.
You might have if you hadn't abused mutual aid for years,
No.
because.
that was the day of the pileup on the
There were
highway.
35 cars piled up.
Absolutely, but Mamaroneck, Larchmont, Eastchester, and
Mamaroneck
Scarsdale-
did not respond to the RFP, Scarsdale did not respond to the
but I'm saying
RFP.
those guys come here and help us out all the time.
We know, Mark, we
But-
know, we
but-
see
but-
them all the
And
time.
they're burnt out. They're burnt out carrying
The
the
whole
water for
county is
this-
burnt out from COVID and multiple factors that affected the EMS system. It's nationwide. It's not just little old Pelham, it's
This is the only
nationwide.
town that doesn't have an ambulance. The only town in the county.
Okay, thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
What did you name, sir?
Mark Cardwell.
Cardwell?
Yep.
Cardwell? Huh?
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Any further public comment? Ed, I'm waiting for you.
And that's Mark.
No public comment?
Anything, Ed?
Of course I'll make a public comment.
Thank you.
I don't have anything. Congratulate Molly on an excellent job as assistant town clerk. Assistant town clerk?
Deputy.
Deputy.
Don't you see her pistol?
Are we doing? Thank you.
I think it's important for the public to be present at the town council meetings, and that's why I came, in order to hear what's going on. I think the information about the fly car and the possible ambulance is an interesting thing. I would characterize the focus groups a little differently than they were described. I think they were a little bit biased, but I think there is a substantial interest and at the same time a substantial problem in terms of money. So I appreciate your grappling with this issue. But I do think that it's just important for the public to be present when the council meets. I would say the agenda is pretty sparse on, if you look at what's coming up, it's the same thing every month. And it contains no information about any issues or anything like that.
Well, you know what Billy Martin did one time, right? When he did the batting order? When he did the batting order, the team wasn't doing well, so he just dropped names in a hat. Maybe that's what we'll do. We'll put Councilwoman Curtin first, we'll do Ray third, whatever. No, we'll try. But thank you. Thank you. Do we have any further public comment? Chief? You?
Thanks for stopping in.
That it? I would like a motion to go into executive session to talk about some personnel issues.
So
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, what was your name, sir?
It's been the same for 82 years.
Well, I mean,